might as well rename me Pierre Ribéry. Not because I'm in Paris, but rather Brussels, Belgium. You at home know where Brussels, Belgium is, but what is Brussels, Belgium? What exactly is Brussels, Belgium about? That's what we're gonna find out. I'm Zeppernick, and this is As the Axis Tilts. Brussels, Belgium, at the confluence of three distinct native languages, serves as a gateway to the European mainland. Bustling streets, nightlife, and a medieval cultural landscape. Not dubbed the City of Lights such as Paris, but I'd give it a silver medal in that regard if nothing else. But that's not the only thing that awaits you, or at least me, when you arrive in Brussels. As per usual, first impressions, initial observations, a very spacious city Brussels is. Not the most walkable or walk-friendly city in Europe. Prototypically, when you think of Europe, you think of it's very easy to get from point A to point B. Not as much the case here in Brussels. You're likely going to have to take a car, you're likely going to have to ride a bike, but it's all definitely worth it. And I've been here less than 24 hours, and I'm blown away by the historical context, the historical landscapes, the overall foundation, just seeing and walking around Brussels, getting lost in translation, literally, because they speak French predominantly and English here, all over the Brussels city landscape. And another thing that you'll quickly notice, especially if you're a sports fanatic, all right, Belgium, Brussels, so unpopular compared to its French and Holland counterparts in terms of football, soccer. I'm like, hey, do you know where I can find Kevin De Bruyne or Vincent Kompany? And they're like, you mean Mbappe? That's basically Brussels so far in a nutshell from a sporting cultural perspective.
Man, those soliloquies are a piece of work. Before my first stop, I had to get one last laugh at my chauffeur, who thought he was all slick and whatnot after he canceled my ride, in a way only Coach Prime would understand. I told him I'm coming. He thought I was joking. I told him I'm coming. And I keep receipts in and out of my spam folder. Fully recyclable.
Maybe a dead giveaway, but the Atonium, hence in the background, was the genesis of the excursion. Not gonna sound cliche and say, here we are, but we here. Right behind me, the Atonium, the iconic centerpiece in all of Brussels, despite its location on the northern side of town. Originally erected back in 1958 at the Brussels World Fair, standing a whopping 335 feet tall, consisting of 7 stainless steel clad spheres. It's like a giant game of marbles without the choking hazard. Time to check it out. Gaze for miles, overlooking the city of Brussels from a variety of different angles, and if you get hungry, there's a restaurant up here too. Right next to the Atomium, for a measly €20 expense, yes I know inflation, but still, visit Mini Europe, which exhibits the jewel in the crown attraction of each country on the continent. Talk about the documentary I was coerced, I loved watching in college titled Europe in a Room, right? Brussels has a cornucopia of delectable dining options. Waffles, french fries, and chocolate may come to mind initially, but the main staple food that the country has to offer is mullers and frites. And that's what I ordered at Bromberson Huse Cafe. Alright, so I did the research ahead of time, of course, and there's nothing wrong with a refresher on the proper way to eat mullers and frites. So, according to the waiter, you can either take it out with your hand, and I learned the hard way. I probably burnt myself and have permanent nerve damage in this finger, but that's a topic for another time. Or you can do it the conservative way and take it out with your fork and then eat it, swallow it, savor it, unlike an oyster, and then comes the complement of the frites, which are smothered in Cajun ketchup. If you ask me, the plant-based and vegetarian options that Brussels has to offer taste a lot better than the meat. And I'm not saying that, of course, because I'm a proponent of animal welfare and humanely raised cattle, but because, well, it's true. And as you know, food is medicine in, well, all shapes and forms. While the Atomium is considered the centerpiece of Brussels, Grand Place is the heartbeat. Just outside of Grand Place is where you'll find St. Hubert's Royal Galleries, possibly the smallest yet most scenic shopping mall in all of Western Europe. Then make your way to Cathédrale de Michel Aiguedou, a place whose history, besides its founding in 1529, has many modern-day mysteries. A surplus of parks, such as Parc de l'École, inhabit the Brussels city limits, play pickup soccer, walk the trails, and reenact Garrett Wilson's stupendous touchdown catch against the Bills in the opener of the 2023 Jets season.
"40 minutes north of Brussels is the city of Antwerp, famed for its town center, pronounced Grootmacht, or my favorite, the Hetstein Fortress. Talk about a place where the past meets present.
This, in my opinion, is the granddaddy of them all in Antwerp. If you're a first-time visitor to Antwerp, old converges with new. Right behind me, Hetstein, Antwerp's oldest building, originally established during the medieval times of 1200 to 1225 approximately. Hetstein translates to the rock in Dutch.
Referring back to the original question, what is Brussels? What is the place about? Two words come to mind: culture and society. Truly encompassing all of Europe, gelling together each and every piece of what Europe's all about, in a country no bigger than the size of the state of Maryland, and a city in Brussels that's even smaller. So lastly, what would you do if you only had one day?
There's an exclusive 2-for-1 deal going on in Brussels. If you only had one day in the city, where would you go? What would you see? The answer in my book is pretty obvious. The Atomium as well as Grand Place. Both conveniently located, both can be exported in a rather 2 to 4 hour time span. It's almost like both are in the palm of your hand.
Hey, count me in.
As we wrap up things here in Brussels, now would be a good time to go visit some of my old allies at the NATO headquarters as well as the European Union, and then head to the pitch to watch star Belgian striker Eden Hazard hit the right post from distance. I'm Cord Zeppernick. Till wherever I land next, this has been As the Axis Tilts.